Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on February 27th, 2022 at approximately 5:55 p.m. PST. The world is going to be an interesting place. And, there's a lot of questions as to where all of this confusion is going to end. Well, the where is easy. It will end up ending on this planet. However, the when is going to be the problem. Well, the where is it's going to be on the planet. The when is going to be when people finally realize that working together we can make this a better world for most people. Now, as I mentioned, changing your life. Now, back that up. The tools I offer here, I build myself as a spiritual guide for one reason. The tools I offer here are the ones that I personally am using and the philosophies of life that I personally live by. Now, I came back to this life, back to this lifetime at this point for one primary purpose, and that is to pass on a simple message to everyone in existence. And that is that working together, we can make this a better world for almost all people. To this end, it starts here in your own heart. Because the only person that can change your life in an effective fashion is you. Yes, other people can influence where it goes, but the only one that can do it deliberately, the only one that can be successful for you is you. Now, if you're happy with the way the world is right now, then absolutely leave it on the path it's on. It's been on this path for several thousand years, and people are still doing essentially the same thing. Okay, people are basically letting greed, debauchery, and self-satisfaction rule what they're up to. The way to change this is to take a look, first of all, at the three karmic laws. Now, I only follow three. Okay, but if you compare these laws to the ones that you follow, I do believe you'll find that every one of the laws that you follow, laws, guidelines, whatever you want to call them, fall into these three. Be true to yourself first. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. Energy out, energy in. Now, if you follow those three karmic laws, we can change this world for the better for virtually everybody. But it starts right here. Now, I've mentioned before, the backbone of society is the family. Family being identified usually as two adults of any gender, any species, with as many children or as many people they're in charge of caring for under the same roof as they desire. Okay, now the backbone of the home is the kitchen. Okay, the kitchen and dining room, that is the backbone. Okay, the backbone of your house is your finances. Now, to this end, I've started, and again, these are tools I personally use, but I've rebuilt my financial database. Okay, in order to track this year properly. And in order to make my physical world run a little bit more smoothly, you can as well. Now, if you don't know how to handle your finances properly, and I don't mean make a budget, frankly, in my opinion, if you've got a definite amount of money coming in, you can set a budget up for that money. But if your income fluctuates much like most people's, and certainly like mine, a budget doesn't work. But tracking where you're spending your money can make all the difference in the world, which is why I've decided this year. Okay, I just literally yesterday I started doing it. I'll be finished by the end of tomorrow. Okay, in getting the finances, doing exactly what I need so I can look at one sheet and go, this is what I've got. Now, I know for an absolute certainty that my income is changing. That has been accommodated by a very simple technique. And there it is there. These little things. Okay. This first one here, this is a sign I keep handy. Okay. I have legally attained a minimum of, what do I got here? A minimum of $3,500 by February 28th, 2021 at 1 minute to midnight. Now that 3,500, that is the number that I'm aiming at this month. Now understand, it only cost me $2,500 to actually build, to actually afford to cover all of my necessary bills. My rent, utilities, food, insurance, all of that. Okay, and let's not forget entertainment and savings. Because I run a business, I have a secondary one. Okay, and this one says Inner Voice Enterprises has legally generated a minimum of $600 by February 28th, 2022 at approximately at approximately 1 minute to midnight PST. Well, really, it's 1 minute to midnight local time. Those two little sheets of paper are a constant reminder for me that finances have to be kept in order. And the reality is, the last 5 months, well, now the last 6 months, because I think I've already hit. I'll have to double check that. I'm pretty certain, as a matter of fact, I might be able to do that here. By the way, this is a live recording, meaning I don't go back and double check and do any editing. I double check to make sure I got the date right, and I leave it at that. Okay. Now that hasn't had the alteration to it. What did I get on the last one? Okay, my last income there was an extra. What the heck was it? Let's go on. That's January, February. Okay, an extra 900. Yeah, I'm just doing a quick calculation in my head here. So if I take what I had here, which was 29, add an extra 900, and I've made over the 35, making 6 months in a row. I've upped the volume, the intended income every month, and for the last 6 months running, I've hit that mark. I will up it again, and when I get done with my finances today. Okay, or this weekend when I get done with the finances by the end of tomorrow. By doing that, I will have things worked out properly. Okay, and then I will up it again. Now, the reality is, getting your finances running means your house can run properly. You don't have to worry about being evicted. You don't have to worry about being out of food. But you're the one that's going to have to do the work. Okay, you're the one that's got to put the effort into it. And one of the things I've been failing badly at, or failing really well at, I'm not sure, is marketing for my own projects. Now, like I said, I came back for one message for everyone in existence, and to that end, I do require your assistance, because one person isn't going to change this. And right now, society is taking a very, very complicated path. Okay. Actually, it's a real simple path when you think about it. For the last 10,000 years, mankind has indulged itself in greed, debauchery, instant gratification, and these are not working well. Okay, these have to be brought to a close. But to do that, you've got to alter the way that your path is running personally. Because if enough people start changing the way they're handling things, then society itself will alter. And that is what has to happen in order to put this back on track. So, I've got that moving. The question you've got to ask yourself is do you have a direction you desire your life to go in? Beyond just paying the bills. Okay, beyond just barely surviving. Do you have a goal that you would like to attain? A creative goal, something that, preferably creative, but something that you can look forward to doing. Something that you can do to generate a better income, in spite of the disaster going on. Now, it is imperative we stop blaming everybody else. Okay, take a look at the immediate world around you. Okay, you take a look at my house, at my apartment. Okay, this is my office. Take a look at it, and you'll notice it's a little bit out of kilter. Okay, The only person that's going to change that is me. In your office, wherever you're sitting right now, you've got the same responsibility to yourself. You're the only one that can change the way your world is going. Okay, and it is time we start working together to make this happen. One of the hardest things to realize is that we can change this world. Okay, it's traveled this path for thousands of years, but that doesn't mean it has to continue. Much like I've told people, your life may well have been an absolute shambles to start with, and there's nothing you can do to change that. But how you got to where you are is not half as important as where you go from here. Okay, it's one of these situations where it is imperative that we take a look in the mirror and go, what am I content with? How am I going to deal with this? Okay, and which way am I going to do it? Well, the reality is, if you don't take a direction and go, this is what I'm up to, you're going to run into a problem. You won't get where you're aiming. Okay, there's an old saying that goes, people don't plan to fail, they fail to plan. Well, most people in today's world, I have to believe, do not desire this world to be in the state it's in. From what I gathered on just a few clips today over social media, okay, this war in the Ukraine, many of the Ukrainians do not want this war. Okay, and many of the Russians do not want the war. There's riots going on, from what I gather, in Russia right now, where people are literally going, no, we don't want this war. There are riots going on in Toronto regarding all the sanctions and what have you in this country, going, we do not desire this to continue this way. Okay, the head politicians, on the other hand, seem to be pushing for these conflicts. Okay, this is not effectively going to help society, not in the long run. It's not doing it in the short run. It's certainly not going to do it in the long run. But you, as individuals, can alter the direction things are going without raising a complication, by simply starting to communicate with each other, starting to talk to each other about what you see, about what you feel, without degrading the other person, without calling them down. And that means, regardless of where they sit in life, regardless of what their career is, regardless of their income or any other differentiators, okay, everybody is working with what they already know. Okay, they have been taught to think in one fashion, and their parents were taught to think in one fashion, and it's just been carrying on. The challenge today is to look at the fashion you were raised and ask yourself, is that a good fashion for you? Now, like you, I was raised with certain rules and certain tendencies. The thing when I was a kid was, when my parents would look at me and go, knock off the tears, or I'll give you something to cry for. And this always struck me as odd, because I'd look at it going, well, I'm in tears, clearly I've got something to cry for. And I swore I would never do that to my own kids. So I modified it a little, and I went, look, knock off the tears, or I'll give you something that I consider worth crying for. Now, understand, if you've got parents, you've got kids that have fake tears to get out of trouble. Okay, what we call crocodile tears. Okay, and the reason the term crocodile tears came up is because crocodiles don't have tear ducts. Okay, but take a look at the way you were raised. Ask yourself, are you content with the way you were raised? If not, make some changes, but be careful of the tendency of going overboard. Because remember, as teachers, as parents, as educators, it is our job to help, to guide people, to guide our charges on a path that will turn them into functional members of society. If you are continuing to teach fear, that functional membership is not going to work. Okay, you're going to have way too many complications. Now, where it comes to me, Okay, the tools I talk about are ones I personally am using. But it goes a little beyond that for me as well. Because while I am doing this, and I don't know, just seeing if I've got, yes, this little character here. I told you I was looking for figures for the novels I'm writing. This little character here, and I will be getting him painted over the next little while. Okay, I just picked him up yesterday, but he is a perfect rendition for one of the characters in the early books. Okay, this is the rendition for a character by the name of Billion. Okay, and you'll find him when you read the books. You'll find out who Billion is. Okay, but that figure is representative of him. It's perfect. Okay, he's got leather armor on. He's got, by the look of it, I can't really see. He's got some sort of a solid chest plate on. And of course, he's wearing a travel cloak with a staff. Well, that staff is a perfect rendition for the one that I'm physically having built for him. Okay. I'm in the middle of writing chapter 7 of The Return to Paradise, which is the final book in the series. Okay, I'm just over a third of the way through writing the book. Okay, as far as pages go. And that third chapter, as I said before, okay, I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons since I was 13. In the end of an epoch, or in the Return to Paradise, the one I'm writing now. Okay, the player characters, the people that are playing Dungeons and Dragons. It's a small little gaming group that is caught right smack in the middle of this war. Okay, now we are talking about normal, everyday people with an enhanced imagination that are caught in this war. Okay, and I will be dealing with some of the things they go through. But it's been this ongoing process of getting the books written and what have you, and I've run into complications. I am still targeting putting it in print before the end of this year. Okay. Once I get through, I don't know where it's going in all honesty at this point. I know the next 3 chapters are already written. Probably the next 4, at least written up here. Now it's just a case of typing them out. Okay, typing them out, editing them, and getting them into print. So this is a good thing. Okay, now we have to look at the reality behind where to go from this point. Okay, and thus far, it does look like the next ones that'll come out is going way back to the beginning and showing where this all started from. Now, I gave people I asked people for input, and I have had some, as to whether I should go back to book 1 or go back to the beginning of the last age. And, the third trilogy, as it were, because there's 4 trilogies in all run back to back. Okay, I am getting input. I'd love to hear your comments in the comment section below here. And if you've got a question or if you desire to talk to me directly, below that information is a list of ways of getting a hold of me. There's also a list of the different books that I've got available that are already in print in my possession. Now, with that in mind, I will leave you go until tomorrow. But until then, take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.